Hey everybody, welcome back to American Homestead. Today we're going to sit down with three of our homesteaders that are here at the farmers market on Saturday. And we got Bart with Solid Rock Soap Company, Tracy with Okie Homestead, and Cy with Believe Bakery. We want to take a minute a little bit and talk about what it takes to start a homestead, what kind of work's involved, how to make it profitable, and get some of their views of what it's like to be a homesteader in 2021.
The American Homestead.
Talking about all this stuff, I am not profitable at my farm at all, but that's by design. You two both are profitable in your ventures. Starting with you, Bart, tell us what got you started into turning your homestead from just a homestead to provide for your family to making it into a business.
Well, I think we kind of ran by accident into the goat's milk soap. I had a friend give me, a bar of goat's milk soap, and we had tried several different things with the milk. To become like a certified dairy, you have to have all types of, certifications. You have to have certain type of equipment that you can process that milk with.
Right.
And that's a lot of expense to come up with, and then you have to be able to market it to somebody. You have to be able to sell that milk somewhere. So we made a little bit of cheese. We made a little bit of yogurt, and and people like the cheese and things like that. But it was so the profit on that was so small as far as what it took to actually make the cheese to what you could sell it for. And sell it to friends,
right?
And still sleep at night.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we just weren't making that much off of that. So I brought home that idea to Jamie. I said, "What do you think about making goat's milk soap?" And she said, "I've never thought about it." So she is just a internet ninja when it comes to finding out information. And so she got on the internet. She found out how to make some soap, and she made that. And she just started off with one loaf and cut it into 12 or 15 bars, put that on Facebook, and there was an interest in it immediately. And so she thought, well, maybe that was just a fluke, maybe that was just a flash in the pan. She tried it again, and it sold too. So soon after that, we got involved with you guys out here at the farmers market, and she started trying different techniques on how to make the soap. And found out that there was really a market for that. It's a niche, but it's more and more people find out they are wanting to go to a more natural soap.
Right.
And so they started using our soap. We started making more varieties and figuring out how to make a larger batch. And I worked at the bus plant doing maintenance, and so through the last 4 years, especially, this farmers market's been key to all that. This has been the place where we've made the most contacts, we've had the most sales and all that kind of stuff. So we just found a product, just by discovery, I guess.
Right.
That, wow, this is really a marketable product. It's really, people like the way that Jamie puts her artisan, mind
touches
into it, her touches and everything.
Yeah.
She uses what she makes. If she doesn't like something, if it's not going in the right direction, she'll scrap it and go a better way, start over. So then she just broadened it into several different types of products that go with soap, with soap, and then was able to broaden her.
And so now you have a full
we got a whole full
health and beauty line of products.
Yeah,
everything
bath and body
from
products.
Shave cream to soaps to lotions,
beard oil,
beard balm, cologne.
It's awesome.
And that was one thing, because when I learned, because I was from the city, lived in the city most of my life. We bought a small 1 acre place in New York for a while, and that's really what got us interested into homesteading. And then we moved back to Oklahoma and got out here. We decided to go all in. So one of the things that I never thought of is working out in how cold it gets. And I think our first year here was one of the coldest on record. And my skin on my hands from constantly building fence and doing stuff began to crack and bleed on a regular basis. So when we met up with you guys and we started with that soap, I mean, it was amazing that I could not close my make a fist. I couldn't close my hand during those times. But as long as I use that soap, no problem. I got the soap, I got the lotion, and from then on I was sold.
Right.
You know, not to mention the smells and the. You see it on Facebook and look thinking it's a cake or something.
Right.
And it's beautiful. So that's ultimate goal is to, not only be able to provide for your family.
Right.
And the family's needs and food and stuff, but also to be able to make a profit and to get to the point now where that's your full-time deal is making soap and marketing it across the country. You're international yet?
No,
got some international sales yet?
I think we've had people actually buy it and send it to friends. I think in Australia.
See,
it's made it to Canada and places. We've had people on the website from Sweden, from
That's
Saudi
awesome.
Arabia, from Indonesia, different places. What I would consider exotic places.
Yeah.
Looking at our product, but the networking that we discovered here, we're able to build from. The testimonials of people using the soaps and the lotions and saying this stuff actually worked for me, and then hey, somebody will buy a bar of soap or a bottle of lotion and give it to somebody and say, you got to use this stuff. It's good. And that person, investing in our company, then that person comes back and says, hey, I want this soap and that soap and this lotion and this lotion.
Well, that's what my cousin, he comes out and he travels fairly frequently. He'll buy bars of your soap, and when he stays at an Airbnb, and he'll leave it behind for the next people to see with information. And that's one thing about farmers markets, and if you're in a good market, it's building relationships, it's building and networking, getting to know people, because you guys, as producers, and Cy, your family does bakery stuff here, you're not beholden to shareholders, you're beholden to the people here shopping. So the quality of product from a home-based business is 10 times what a corporate business would be. Because you answer to someone right in front of you. You're not answering to shareholders. You're answering to the people. And so that's one of the amazing things about it. Now, Tracy, you guys do a little bit of everything. So you have the garden that you sell. How did you turn yours into a profit?
We started with another farmer's market and then discovered out here that this place really fit. And we had to do a lot of research on how to come around about being able to plant enough to produce and how to rotate your crops out so that you always have what's in season, but you need to be able to carry it over whenever nobody else has got it. And so consistent planting and timing it so that whenever one crop is done, then you're able to pick up and keep going with new plants. And in Oklahoma, which anywhere, but Oklahoma's weather is so hard to predict. A lot of people lost a lot of plants last month, or when it was when the freeze come through, and we held off to the last minute. We still had our plants, and a lot of people have to start over. So you have to really, you have to go with your gut instinct, and you have to be able to put in the time, because farmers and gardeners, especially the market gardeners now, you have to make sure your soil is right. You have to make sure your seeds are good seeds, and we've been really blessed to have good seed sources, local. And if those seeds or certain plants fall through, we still try to keep it local. So we also use other nurseries that grow locally, and I say within state. And they have good product because, again, they're stewards of the land. They're in the market to produce a good product. Planning is everything, but you can't put it strictly to planning because plans change. So you have to have several strategic plans in place in case something fails. Irrigation is another one. We have some real wet seasons, and then we have some real dry seasons. And that's with animals and or plants. You have to know your irrigation. We try to use rainwater as much as possible. And right now I am fine-tuning our irrigation this year because we know where we stand. We've tried raised beds. We've tried the Garden of Eden style. We've tried the no-till. And in certain areas, it works great, but you have to find what works for you.
Right.
So with our chickens, our quail, and our rabbit, we use that manure. Rabbit can go a long ways where you can have chicken and quail manure. It's really high in nitrogen.
Yeah.
So you have to learn not to burn stuff
Yeah,
up.
because you got to cool that down a little bit.
For sure.
With some time and some soil to really be able to utilize that.
Learning to compost is another thing, and it can save you a lot of money. And there's a lot of places out there that you can get product to turn it into compost that's really healthy for the soil.
Yeah.
You can get into the science end of it with the microbial life and all that, which is something I've learned in the past 4 to 5 years. And it can be really hard.
Yeah.
And nothing happens overnight. It takes time.
You
have to plan.
It's a lot of learning. And that's what, when we started, now granted we've been doing this for 4 years, so when we started, a lot of ours was really trial and error. I started with a huge garden. I'm no longer at a huge garden because the way I was trying to figure out what I was going to grow that my family would eat, that would keep, and that I could successfully grow. And so far, I've accomplished loofah gourds. That's checked off the list. I can do that. I'm still trying to find the rest of it 4 years later. So, and that's one of the things that as we decide to start doing this, and really a lot of it is experimentation, figuring out which one. We're getting with someone who does know. Because if you have someone that does know, then take the opportunity to learn from them and get that information as best as possible from someone that's already done that experience and kind of learned how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, and I've learned as much from all of you guys and everyone here at the market that I ever would have learned in years of studying books.
Yes.
Because there's a wealth of information out there, but it's a matter of finding it and using it.
To read a book and put it to practice and try different things that other market gardeners that has been doing it, which for me, I followed several different YouTube people and used all of their theories that worked for them to see if they'd work for me. Some do, some don't. They're in totally different parts of the country or the world, Canada, England, or UK, a lot of different places. And some of them work and some of them don't.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to put no names out there, but anybody who is in the gardening knows who they are, and they've been doing it their entire lives. And you learn from good instructors.
Yeah.
And they put those videos out there in order to help, and they do help. You just have.
You got to trust in and follow along with what they're doing.
Yes, for sure.
Because if someone's got that kind of experience, that kind of time, and they're willing to share it, and that's what a lot of that I feel homesteading should be is sharing your experiences and your information with others, so that everyone can learn. And that's like when we sell an animal, I don't sell it for a huge profit. I sell it to help someone else start their homestead.
Yes.
Because what we're faced with and what's coming in the future, it's really unknown, but we kind of have an idea of where things start to go.
Yeah.
And the idea to be self-sufficient, to be somewhat independent, or to, if you're not, to be able to network with people that, like, I don't have the ability to grow the things you can grow, but I know who I can go to, and I have items that I can trade for that. And I think that's something that, that's what our great-grandparents did. And going back to my great-granddad was a sharecropper. And I heard that he was not a great farmer, but he was an excellent hunter.
Yeah.
So, and that's probably where I get my gardening skills from. But my granddad was a great gardener. So, maybe it skips a couple generations. But the ability to know your neighbor and know someone that, hey, if I have a problem, I can go to you. And that's 90% of this, I think, is knowing who to talk to and having a group that's willing to work with you as far as getting stuff done and getting the information you need.
If I was going to give anybody advice, start small.
Absolutely.
Right.
Because the second year, we had a 7,500 square foot garden, and it produced. And I was working full-time job, and I used every bit of sunlight and some of the dark to get stuff done. You put in the work, and you do get rewarded. For the profit part, you have to really start putting pencil to paper to figure it out. How much you're going to have to put in the feed.
Because you have seed costs, you have feeding the animals, you have fertilizer, you have water as an expense. And as much as you can do with natural rainfall and stuff, and I'm a firm believer that, and I can watch my garden. If I water from my water source, which is, I haul water, so it's city water. And then if I water with rainwater, there's a huge difference in the growth the next day.
It is.
In fact, I've shrunk my garden down to focus on a few things, and I have a hand pump well. So I've decided on these plants this year, I'm only going to water from either rain or from the well, which is kind of natural from the ground with nothing else. And I'm going to see that. I want to see the difference of it. So I do a lot of my stuff is a lot of experimentation in it, and I don't know that I'll ever become profitable to that point. Maybe when I actually retire and able to do farming full time. I like to say I'm a semi-professional farmer. I'm in the AAA, you know. But that's one of the things to do is really, you know, see what's out there and what works for you in your area. Because like you said, buying seeds in this state, because I can buy seeds from anywhere, doesn't mean they're going to grow here.
Exactly. And learning how to save your seeds is a lot of key. And there's some plants that I've had trouble growing, so I put a lot of time in it to learn how to grow that plant so that the next year I know the do's and don'ts. I know what strain of seed or plant, like Brussels sprouts right now. I've had a hard time growing Brussels sprouts. I love Brussels sprouts, and my wife does too. I will get that one whipped. I know it may take.
It takes determination, right?
For sure, yes. And you just have to do a lot of reading and putting those practices and theories to the ground to see what you get. So there's a lot of different areas. Some people grow microgreens. That's their specialty. Some people grow just greens and tomatoes. That's their specialty. I try to grow an array of different varieties and seasonal so that I have a little bit for everybody, because we also put back for us too. And I've met a lot of great gardeners that are big scale and have taught me a lot of stuff. It showed me the do's or don'ts, and they're all older because they've already been there. So back to sharing the knowledge.
And that's the key. Now, Si, your homestead, you guys as a family though operate a bakery, a home bakery, and so starting with that, how long have you guys been doing the Believe Bakery?
Nana's been doing it for a long time, but she had a bed and breakfast, so that was up in Kansas. So she's been baking for longer than I've been in the family. But we've been doing it with Nana here in Oklahoma, I think, for five years.
And see, and that's one thing I love about Nana's baking, and the fact that the whole family's involved in it. I mean, it's not just Nana, because Nana, you know, is passing on to the next generation. And that, to me, fits right along with homesteading, because a lot of it is passing that information, because I couldn't bake any of that stuff if I wanted to. But the ability to have someone there to teach you and to learn the next generation of how to make these recipes. And, you know, when my grandparents passed away, I got their recipes. Now, I can look at a recipe, but it doesn't turn out like the picture. But Nana's teaching you how to make it in simple ingredients to a finished product. It's not only a delicious product, but it's a perfectly presented product.
Amber's picking it up really well. So, I mean, she gets kind of stressed when Thursday comes around, but she does a really good job. And Nana's taught me how to can. Put it in, vegetables in jars and whatnot, and I appreciate that so much. I mean, I feel like how you were talking, we don't know how the world's going to turn out from one day to the next. So, I feel like that could be anything that, I mean, I just picked up green beans from a grower here today that I might have enough green beans if I decide how to learn how to grow real good. I could can some green beans.
Well, see, and canning is something that all our ancestors, they did. That was just normal.
It was a way of life.
It was. That was the only way you made it.
I didn't know anything about it till last year because of Nana. She
Oh
was
yeah.
like, come over and help me can some stuff. I was like, what are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about. So.
But see, and that's something that it's important for us to take from the older generation, and to take an interest in their lifestyle, because history is cyclical. I mean, what's happened before will happen again.
Yes.
And it's important that we know those ways, because for the last 2 weeks in February, everything's shut down. We look at the oil pipeline that shut down. People are out of gas in certain places. Back on now, but problems like this are going to consistently come up. There's going to be natural disasters. There's going to be wars and things like this. It's important for us to know how to live sustainably on our own,
Yes.
or with neighbors at least, and how to do these things that was just a way of life back in the day. And to be able to have a canned product that, fresh from the garden, that you can eat the next year.
Or trade.
Or trade, exactly.
Right. And to know how to barter or trade is another important resource to know how to do, because if I have green beans and he has eggs and he has milk, somebody's going to want green beans or eggs, or and you can trade. And that's as a community, like this place has grown, but we have become a family of vendors.
Yeah.
And we can depend on each other for anything, and that's the great part about it.
Absolutely.
So that's, to me, watching this place develop, I look forward to it every year.
Yeah.
But towards the end of the year, I'm really looking forward to the end of the
6
year.
months off.
But because we put up for ourselves, we also put up the product to sell too to others.
Yeah.
We have so many repeat customers, and as it's grown so much, and as the farmers market, we've grown so much, and I think that's important, because there's a lot of people that were out today that has never been here before, and they will be back, because I can see from the sacks of stuff they get, we know when they'll be searching for it again.
Right.
And so to get people to come out and just forget about the stress of everything and enjoy themselves, it's just as good, if not better, than a walk in the park.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's that's something with having the stuff that you need, and having the preparing everything. Like you said, at the end of the 6 months, at the end of market season, come October, we're all ready for a break. One biggest piece of advice I have for anyone starting a homestead is be prepared to work.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's work. And I used to always laugh, because you always hear farmers work from sun up to sundown. I thought, oh, what? And that's no kidding. I mean, granted, I still work a full-time job.
Even if you have kids that have sports or something, you don't get home till 9-10. We didn't get home till 1:30 the other night when Jay had a baseball game in Oklahoma City. I still had to feed pigs when I got home.
You still have work to take care of.
So I wasn't done feeding everything until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And then Amber had to wake up to go to work the next morning and had to feed the pigs at 7.
Yep.
But even despite all the work and the long hours and the days like today where you're out here selling your products, I wouldn't trade it for any city life at all.
Heck no.
To have my kids be able to run around and have space to be a kid, to know what work is and know the value of life. Because so many kids today live in the city, they play Call of Duty or something, they have no respect for what life is. But to see their animals and to watch them grow, and for them to take care of them, and to realize if something happens that they're gone forever. Right. They get a lot of life and death experience at a farm.
I took Atticus over to Tracy's to help butcher chickens, and that's all he told his mom about for like a month and a half. And she's like, "Why'd you take him over there?" I said, "But if anything ever happened, all I'd have to do is take him a chicken over there, and y'all be fine for a day or two."
Yeah,
he knows how to do it already,
and he's not ashamed. He's not afraid of it.
He's not afraid.
And that being said, when we did the expo, I did the poultry and the rabbit processing, and I've already helped one couple. They had 13, and they had done some stuff before, but with the chicken plucker, it is a lot easier
Yeah.
and very fast. And so to see them come, couples work together. That's what it's about. If you work together, it makes it so much easier, and it's actually really fun.
It is.
There are stressful moments. There's stressful moments in the office too.
Oh yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're still there together, and that's what it's about, is together. Today, I went and helped a couple do 50 chickens. And I left, they had 14 to go, but I had to come back to the house to get ready for this afternoon.
Right.
While Shelly was baking everything and getting it ready too. But they had kids out there, 11 and 12 years old, that was actually doing the dispatching, doing the scalding, and when I left, they were running the chicken plucker. They're kids, and I guarantee you they will remember that for the rest of their life. And they had fun doing it.
Exactly.
Atticus is ready to go again.
Yeah.
See, and that's the great thing about it.
Tracy?
Yeah, teaching kids how to hunt and how to raise animals and how to process them
Yes.
for food, and realizing that they don't just come from a store.
Exactly.
You get a lot of these people nowadays that come out, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is where my meat comes from. I'm like, when you have that relationship with the animal, it's not, I look at all my animals, whether I eat them or sell them, as pets.
Yep.
And so you have that respect for life, and you're thankful for what God is providing you,
Yes.
the ability to have an animal to feed your family.
Yes.
And to really know how it was raised up, how it was cared for, and that it had the best life it can have before it became food. I think that makes a big difference.
It does. And when we raise chicks, when we hatch chicks, or we have rabbits and kits, when they kindle, we have a clientele that when we let them know, this is what we have, they're 2 weeks old, put me up for first dibs, and we go down the line. And if there is something wrong, we find out what's going on, try to correct it, or they don't sell, we keep them for ourselves.
Right.
And so to some places do let everything go, and some aren't as healthy as others.
Yeah.
But if I know that it's not good enough for me, I am not going to give it to someone else.
Exactly.
And that takes integrity.
Yeah.
And
you don't see that much.
No, you do not.
Especially in the food for profit areas. It's about pumping with as much stuff as they can. And I talked to a person who raised chickens for one of the companies like that, a big chicken producer. And they actually feed for the first week arsenic.
Yes.
And I guess it kickstarts their hunger.
Yes.
And they're feeding them poison.
Yep.
And I don't have that in any of mine. I wouldn't put anything that I wouldn't be able to eat into my animals, because I'm eventually going to eat that animal, or that animal's going to produce for me, whether it be in eggs or in pork or whatever.
In chickens, we've had people come back for eggs. Why are your eggs, why do they taste so different?
Why are they so good?
Yes. I said, well, what do you mean? Well, store-bought eggs don't taste like yours. Yours are better. This is what we do. I get seed from a company, it's family owned in Collinsville, and I plant clover and cowpea and different things to build my soil up, but I also put the chickens on it too. And just having no pesticides or herbicides or anything like that, or false fertilizers, it does make the eggs taste better.
It does. It's an amazing difference in the color difference and the way it sets up,
and even the meat. You take a slow-raised 6-month-old rooster, and you butcher him. He tastes better than that 8-week-old
exactly.
Cornish rock crossbreed.
Yes.
And they're more tasty. There's less meat on it, but there's more taste to it, and it's.
And I'm a firm believer that, I look at my great-grandparents who lived to be near 100 years old.
Yep.
And they ate eggs, bacon every day.
Every day.
Right. But they knew where it came from.
Right.
And I'm a firm believer that the food you eat and the food that you produce, and you're producing quality meats, homegrown meats, and there's a difference, not only to the taste and the flavor, but to the body. Because your body is, eating eggs, one day science tell you it's bad, the next day say it's good.
Which one is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Along with butter.
Yeah, butter, exactly. Butter, they gave us margarine, which they used to feed turkeys to fatten them up, and that's what it originally started with. But now, to eat real butter made from our cow,
Yes.
it's completely different than regular butter. But you know, I know that I'm healthier. I mean, obviously, I'm fatter. But it's summer. Some of that will fall off, not much.
Sweat it out.
I'll sweat a bunch out. But you know, to be able to have those foods, I feel better.
Yes.
I'm not sick as much. You know, and it's like with the kids being out where they're running around barefoot, they're out in the dirt, they're out working, they don't get sick as much, they don't have the issues, anything like that.
No, it just, I ran barefoot my whole life until I got old enough to figure out that I needed shoes. And, but yeah, you're right. I mean, when you eat homegrown stuff and you do feel better,
Right.
it tastes different.
Yeah.
And there's not all the chemicals on it.
Exactly. Well, I know you guys got to get back to work, so I want to thank you guys for sitting down and talking a little bit about your homestead and about how to make it profitable and some of the things that people need to know, because a lot of people don't realize when they kick off. They just jump into it like I did, and next thing you know, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yep.
So
Been there and done that.
Exactly.
And had to start over. Yes, needed help. So,
exactly. So as we close out, I want to thank you guys. Cy with Believe Bakery, his homestead, and then Tracy with Okie Homestead.
Okie Homestead.
You're on Facebook, and do you have a website?
We're working on the website right now. We are on Facebook, and we're updating and building up to possibly doing a YouTube, maybe. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
So it's in the future.
All right. And once again, Bart with Solid Rock Soap Company. You guys got website, Facebook, you got it all. So if you need good quality soaps, come see Bart and his boss Jamie.
Yeah.
And and come out of this. So I want to thank you guys. If you guys like more information, anything like, feel free to reach out to any of us.
Yes.
We'll be happy to share anything we have, and of course we'll be producing more content in the future to help on everybody else's homestead.
For sure.
So if you like, please subscribe, follow us, like us, share it, do whatever you like, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks guys.